Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and welcome to a special edition of Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm here today to talk to you about how Mark Cherry doesn't know how to write good Asian characters. He always tends to make them the same thing, maids, except for one character. So, in the 20 years, and yes, it's been 20 years since Mark Cherry has become a household name, he's had 3 successful shows. Desperate Housewives that lasted for 8 seasons, I believe. Devious Maids that lasted for 4, and Why Women Kill that lasted for 2. And in all those 3 series in the past 20 years, he's only had 4 characters. I kid you not. Those are like the most prominent ones. And so he's casted like Asian people before, like this one dude who was a pretty good character. Like he was a really good character, but he only had a guest starring role, and that's it. And so then you saw like other Asian people who were background characters because they was hiding this one immigrant girl, and that's about it. So basically, this man has a problem when it comes to writing people of color. I've stated that before in my devious maids video during Latino month and stuff. I've stated it's during Black History Month because he can't write black characters. He can't write Italian characters very well. Basically, he either makes people stereotypes or just terrible people. In Desperate Housewives Season 2, the first time there's been like a black family introduced in the show, it turns out that the first thing you see is a black man in chains, and the mother kept him that way because she thought he murdered someone, but it was actually her other son. Then in Devious Maid Season 2, the first black family is introduced, and they're just atrocious. They're just terrible. They're just bad people. They do terrible things. He had one black character in Season 1 that he written off, and he was a nice character. And mostly what he does is that once he introduces these people of color, he writes them off like the next season prior. Except for Renee or Desperate Housewives towards the end of the series. And that's probably because the actress was pissed at him because of what he did in Season 2 with that one black family I stated. But pretty much people of color don't really last on his show. Unless, of course, it's Devious Maids. Of course, that's a Latino show. But, even they disappear from the show or get killed off and stuff like that. And so he doesn't have a really good track record when it comes to people of color, and he's been called out on this many years ago. I've stated that, you know what, the next show he makes, it just needs to be all white. He doesn't need no people of color in his shows because it's just the way he writes them are just so it's old Hollywood basically. Anyway, so also 20 years ago, I need to probably point this out. 20 years ago when Desperate Housewives came out in 2004, he only had 10 writers, and only one of those writers was a person of color. Patty Lynn. She's a former screenwriter and stuff for Hollywood. And she said that he's pretty much just out front racist and stuff like that, at least what she perceives. And the reason why she perceives that is because he only had one person of color in his writing staff. She was fired at the end of Season 1. And he told her that, Margaret Cho once created a show in the 90s called All American Girl, an all Asian show, and that she should create something like that. She was offended because she's all what? Just because Margaret's Asian and I'm Asian, I should do the same thing. And so she got offended by that. Now, 20 years ago, yeah, that would be considered offensive. However, nowadays in 2024, you always see people of color create shows and movies based on their race. But you never really have people really tell you to make that stuff. So it's yeah, 20 years ago, I can see that being offensive. Nowadays, not so much. So you just got to take it however it is. And so she did not have a good working relationship with him. So yeah, he doesn't have the best track record when it comes to writing people of color. And so with these four Asian characters, like three of them are maids. So in Desperate Housewives season 1, I believe season 2, he had like only one Asian character, and she was a maid, an older lady. And so like with this character, she was a bit grumpy. Why? Because she did not like her boss. Her boss was Gabrielle, a Latino woman, and Gabrielle treated her like crap, and I mean like crap. And so basically, the maid lady didn't approve of Gabrielle cheating on her husband. And that's basically really the only storyline that actress had. She was played by the actress who was the grandmother and Fresh Off the Boat. And basically she was just having like a recurring role, and it's very, very, very brief, extremely minor. So he didn't really give too much thought about her. Then in season 3 of Desperate Housewives, Gabrielle gets another Asian maid. And it's just like, why are they always maids on his show? So like, pretty much with this one, she's an illegal immigrant. And so in order to keep, well, first, I think when they find her, Gabrielle's just kind of like, you know, since you can sew really well, like, you know, you can be my maid or something like that. And then so when she's about to get deported, they're all like, look, if you have our baby, then you can stay in the country. So basically what it was is that Gabrielle and Carlos could not get pregnant because something was wrong with Gabrielle eggs at that time. So she agreed and everything, right? Being a surrogate. But then Carlos saw her naked one time and got really horny, and then they had an affair. So now she's written to be a terrible person. So then she starts like, you know, demanding stuff of Gabrielle. So like, I'm pregnant, my feet hurt, do this for me, and all this other crap. And it's just like, so she's written to be a terrible character. Then in the shocking reveal of the baby, who should have been half Asian and half Latino, turned out to be half Asian and half black. Meaning, yeah, she was just sleeping around with people. After that, she's never seen again. And I'm just kind of like, really? It was a funny moment when that baby came out black. But, you know, to write her to be that bad is just like wrong and stuff. So on Devious Maids, that was set about, when did they come out? 2013. So about like maybe around like 10, 11 years later after Desperate Housewives. There are two Asian characters in here. One has just a guest appearance role. Both are once again maids. This man, I don't understand him. So anyway, the first maid is an older woman, and she moves super slow like a turtle. She's there for comedic relief. And when she finds out that somebody was murdered in the house, she freaked out and didn't want to work there no more. Then in season 3, funny how it's always season 3 he introduces another maid that has more of a role and everything. In season 3 there's another maid. This time she's a lot more friendlier. She's perky, she's happy, she's a really good maid. Her tragic backstory is that her parents are dead and her boss took her in, but when her boss took her in, he made her a maid. And she sees that as being very grateful. And I'm just kind of like, dude, he could have just took you in. You know what I'm saying? He could have just like adopted you or something. He didn't have to make you a maid. So that's already a bad sign, and a bad taste in my mouth and everything. So then, like, you know, the only bad thing she does is that, okay, like, her boss doesn't like the other maid in the house, and he wants to get rid of her. So he makes her lie so that the other maid's boss will fire her, and she does that. But then she later, you know, feels terrible and tells the truth. And I'm just kind of like, couldn't you just write her to be like adopted by him? Did she have to be the maid? Did she have to help lie and everything? But then we get to the last predominantly like Asian character, Simone, who is in Why Women Kill. This came out about 2 years ago or so, and it's played by Lucy Liu. And so Simone is different. She's no maid. She's actually a spoiled like trophy wife. Basically, she has no job. She married for money, stuff like that. And I don't like trophy wives or the trophy wife trope. But yeah, she married for money. So that's already a bad taste in my mouth. Now, her story is a little different. She is both bad and good at the same time. But she is a diva. And so basically what it is that like she discovers that her husband is gay. And she is furious because this is set in 1980s, right? So in the 1980s, people really hated gay people back then. And so like she was outraged and stuff like that. And she was embarrassed because, she's been married for so many years and could have been with a man who was actually straight and loved her instead of a man who just pretended so people wouldn't find out. So I understand why she's upset. And so she kicks him out the house. Understandable. But then, like, he pretends to overdose. So she takes him back in because she loves him and stuff until she finds out that he faked his overdose. This pisses her off. She wants to kick him out again, but she can't because he starts blackmailing her. Basically, when she finds out he's cheating and stuff, this guy who's like her gardener or something like that, he falls in love with her and seduces her, and she starts dating him and having an affair. The problem is that he's 17 years old, so he's underage, similar to the whole Gabrielle Solis storyline from Desperate Housewives. That's basically the same character. So she tells him, look, I ain't doing this no more until you turn 18. So she waits till he's 18, and then they start having an affair. Her and her husband decides to have an open marriage. He can be whatever man he wants and she'll be with him. And of course, the husband makes fun of him, talking about he's just a boy and this and that. And he's still in high school, even though he's 18. So that's just even wrong right there. So anyways, her and her husband start to get along after this. And, both of them are happy. The problem is now her husband got AIDS. And she's really upset because she doesn't want her husband to die. And so there's all this back and forth between like, her boyfriend, the husband, the boyfriend's mother, when she finds out and tries to kill that of Simone. And so after a while, Simone starts to be a bit more nicer, especially towards her husband, because he is dying. His condition is getting worse. And now other people have found out that he's not only gay, but he has AIDS. And so they start making fun of her, start making fun of him, and they kick them out of the country club type thing. And this is when her character really starts to turn around and be a much nicer person, because she starts to see how nasty people treat them, all because her husband is different. And it makes her a much more better person. So for now, he has finally made a good Asian character that's no longer like some type of like maid or stereotype or anything like that. And it gets so bad in his condition that he doesn't want to live no more. He's made his peace with everybody, and he wants his wife to euthanize him. And so she does, in a very heartbreaking, like touching scene. And she grows to be very old in a wheelchair. She sends her lover boy to like college and everything. I think she told him, I can't remember exactly what happened. I only saw this show once. And so basically, I think she said something about they need to wait, take their time and this and that, because he was trying to like buy her expensive stuff and he can't, wasting his money and stuff like that. But she does love him. And I think many years in the future, she's still with him and all that other stuff. And so he did finally write like a good character. At first, she wasn't good because she started coming off as very rude and nasty. But then over time, her character changed. It was a good character growth. So I give him props for that. But like the fact that there's only been like 4, or actually there's only been like 6 total like Asian characters. Like I said before, that one guy was really good, but he doesn't really count in this video. Then there was that one maid that was old, but then he's only really had 4 Asian characters in a span of 20 years, in a span of 3 shows. And it's just kind of like, why? Like, why does he do this? And why does he always make them maids? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand his philosophy and the way he writes and this and that. And, you know, maybe it could be his race, maybe it could be his politics, maybe it could be his upbringing. He seems like the type, in my opinion, who just probably never had friends of color growing up. And because it's weird how he writes like Asian, Black, and Hispanic characters. Happy Asian and Pacific Islander month, everybody. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.